The problem hasn't gone away, and it hasn't gone away for two reasons. The first reason is the town's topography. Ennis is a low-lying town, and oftentimes when you get those quiet, still, cold nights in winter, particularly in the month of January and into February, we have them, that the air gets trapped, and that the particles that are harmful to people, particularly with asthma, COPD, and other respiratory conditions, those particles get trapped in the air, and that's the smog that we see. What the early stages of this research has found is that these particles are coming from fossil fuels that are being burnt,
Hmm.
whether it is smoky coal that is coming in here illegally, which and I know it is being sold here,
Mm.
and also wood that hasn't been seasoned, that's wet, that's immature wood that hasn't been allowed to season for a couple of years.
And you've
So it's
long
damp.
pointed to the former there, smoky coal, as a chief cause of this.
Smoky coal, yeah. When I attended their evening in the library there a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about what they found, and by identifying the particles, that certainly smoky coal was one part of it, and certainly the other part was wood, was burning wood. If you burn wood that's seasoned, it doesn't leave these particles. Whereas if the wood is mature and it hasn't been allowed to season and dry, that's where the issue arises. And a huge amount of that is education. Um, we all see the ads for people coming into town selling coal. You might think it's cheaper, you might think that the heat is better off it, but in the long term, the implications for people's health um, is not good because of the particles that come off the smoky coal, and that is why the 26 counties certainly are smoke-free zones, so are smoke-free coal areas. But we know that smoky coal is being sold, and equally, somebody chops down a tree after a storm, leaves it only a couple of weeks, and next thing they burn it when it hasn't been allowed to season. So these are the two big, obviously the cars, they burning diesel and petrol, that doesn't help. But they're finding from this research that they've done so far, the TownAir research team, that they find that it is fuel that people are burning in their fires and their stoves are causing the particles in the air.
So is it your view, Mary, that this is entirely down to consumer behaviour, and that if people make a different decision, if they decide not to purchase those harmful fuels, Ennis won't be considered, as it usually is, the worst town in Ireland for air quality?
Yeah, I think there's a whole educational piece here to educate the general public about what if they still have an open fireplace, or if they still have a range that takes uh, coal or takes wood, or if they have a little stove, that what they put into it is so important that they're aware that they should be using the smokeless coal, or they should be using seasoned wood, or even turf is better.
Hmm.
But it's just, to be aware that what you put into it is causing that smog that we see in those quiet, still, cold nights.
Yeah.
That's where that's coming from, and that's what's irritating people that do have respiratory conditions.
So Clare County Council are now teaming up with researchers from the University of Galway and University College Cork on this project, the TownAir project. Can you tell us a bit about what it consists of and what it'll mean for Ennis?
Well, they're currently doing a survey to ask all homeowners and residents to take part in the Town Air survey. And this will kind of help shape a cleaner, healthier future for Ennis. Because we are committed to improving the air quality in Ennis, and this Town Air project is hugely important. I myself have asthma, and I'm also the chair of Ennis Tidy Towns. So this is something I've taken a great interest in. So I'm asking the general public to engage in the survey, and there's also paper copies of the survey available um, in Ars County and Clare, and I think they'll be available too within the library service. But there's also one that's available online to engage in and just tell us what you're doing. So that will, inform policy in the future regarding grants for upgrading home heating systems, um, for policing how coal is sold and if it's getting in, and educating people about if they are burning solid fuel, that they're burning the right types of solid fuel. They might be healthy, but they could have a child or a neighbour or a family member with COPD or asthma or a respiratory condition, that it's important that they're able to breathe clean and healthy air.
Based on your engagement with some of the people that are spearheading this project in Ennis, Mary, how confident are you that this could have a significant impact on the town and that it could go a long way to reversing that I suppose a very negative trend when it comes to air quality that we've seen in the last few years?
Well, I think to affect change, they're doing something that's incredibly important, and that's where they're dealing and working with teenagers. So they're engaging with students from Rice College, Coláiste and St. Flannan's College, and that's how you affect change. If they can see what's happening, they'll go home and they say to their parents or the grandparents, "You actually shouldn't be using that. This is the future, is these young people." So I really believe that they're going about it the right way by gathering all this data, all of this information, dealing with our younger constituents here, from the 3 schools. And I think by that, dealing with all of those people and educating them and pulling all that information in, so we can make a considered decision and have a considered opinion at the end of this process, at the end of this survey.
Just to conclude, Mary, if people want to contribute to that survey, how can they do so?
They can do so it's available, as I said, electronically and in print. The print copy is available from the reception at Ars County and Clare. You can also get information on it from Green or Clare at clarecoco.ie, and also the TownAir project. For more information, universityofgalway.ie/TownAir is where you can get the information, and and there's also a QR code that people can just click on with the phones and with the camera on their phones, onto the QR code.